if Ruto agrees to take the deported Somalis into Kenya.
If President John Mahama agree to take these deported Somalians into Ghana, we are also going to go to the street, of course. I agree with you, my sister. And you know, sometimes I say that you need to live the African experience to understand certain things. Now we hear what is happening in Minnesota, and we are not even saying that Trump is right or wrong. That is not what some of us are even talking about. But we are thinking, or we are watching how you are coming online and trolling Black Americans and trolling and making fun of whatever is happening. And you have some Africans supporting you to do whatever you are doing. Now they are deporting you. Now they are tracing your IP addresses because you said Minnesota was promised to you 3,000 years ago. We come online to do live streams and we tell you to stop, because if you don't stop, it will affect you and it will affect a lot of Africans. Now it is even affecting Ethiopians. How dare you go to somebody's country? You have some of these diasporans supporting you. At the end of the day, these people are Black Americans. They will not be deported. You will be deported. So to those of you giving these people the energy and the engine to keep doing whatever they are doing, you see that they are supporting them. So do you think you are helping them or you are destroying them? And I don't even understand why is that when people are being deported, their own country doesn't want to accept them. If your own country doesn't want to accept you, why should another country accept you? President John Mahama, no one yes I mistake we. Somebody who will come to my platform and call me a monkey. I guess I'm a nice monkey then. You see, they are deporting you. And now they are looking for African countries to actually really accept you. I am not saying that all Somalis, I am not saying that all the communities are doing it. But what you are doing on this app and what you are doing on this internet, you even say you don't need our help. So which means we cannot even speak. But at the end of the day, when they deport you, you are coming to our countries. This is not acceptable. If you're Somali and then you are listening. And I know they will come to this video in the comment with their shenanigans. You understand? So if you're a Ghanaian, please listen. Be careful. Let's keep watching and let's keep talking. If they don't know, because I've stopped, I'm not even going live about Somalians again, because they'll come and insult me. They'll come and call me monkey. They'll come and call me weak. You see? And this is what I say. You are only tough online, but when the law catches with you, then you will know where you are going to be. You are here calling people Jarrell, and it is affecting almost all the Africans. And some of us, the sensible ones, when we are talking, you come and insult us. But I don't blame you. You have some Black Americans, you have some Caribbean people who support you. We are all Africans. At the end of the day, you are going to be deported, and we are going to feel the heat. You understand what I'm saying? A word to a white is enough.
Moving on, 64 Somalis and 7 Kenyans arrived at the JKIA today after being deported from the United States. The 71 were accompanied by U.S. security officials.
7:30 a.m. Kenyan time at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Kenyans Charles Kihanya, Bota Patrick, Githua Paul, Mose Eliud Nyachai, Jacqueline Bosibori, Ogari Vincent and Sit Sila were among 71 individuals, including 64 Somali nationals who have been deported from the United States.
Hello, good people. I hope that you are doing fine from any part of the world that you are watching today's video from. As you continue enjoying this festive season, we need to get updated what is happening in the global world. And today, something very strange is happening, which is causing a lot of confusion among people. Under Donald Trump's immigration policies, the Somalis are being deported, especially from Minnesota in the United States of America. But instead of them being sent to Somalia, the deportees are ending up in Kenya. This raises a big question. Is Trump indirectly deporting Kenyans, or are they actually Somalis? And why does Kenya seem to be absorbing these people? Because this problem was never created by the Kenyan system. This is not just about deportation, it's about identity, paperwork, and how African lives are handled in global politics. Welcome back to Polito Realities, a channel that puts forward what many people fear to talk about. Let's now break down what is really going on. But before we do it, just take a minute to subscribe, to share, and to like today's video. Stay tuned as we unwrap what we have today.
Every Somali is a Kenyan Somali. Get your IDs. There is no discrimination. Get your IDs. You can be 60-year-old, you can be 50-year-old, you can be 20-year-old. Get your IDs. Forget about your tribe and where you have come from. In the past, there are particular communities that were listed as Kenyan Somalis. No, every Somali is a Kenyan Somali.
There was an attempt actually to rewrite and rubbish the history of the Somali community and their contribution to the making of the nation state of the Republic of Kenya. That of the first British or the Kenya-Uganda railway. Do you know the first people who built that railway? We only know the Indian coolies. The other groups were the Somali, the British Somalilanders. The British Somalilanders. Those are the people who founded Parklands, Isli, part of Thika. I just want to take you to Thika here. The famous Ali Kabati. He was one of the longest serving councillors in the history of Kenya. If you find the history, you will find that he was the owner of a big chunk of land from Pangani all the way to Gatundu, including even where right now Safari Park actually sits. So once we are familiar with the history of this is why we have so many centers. Start from Isiolo. Isiolo is a product of the first Somali products of actually the first Somali railway builders. That's the history of Isiolo. If you go to Nyanyuki here, you will find the same. Go to Nyeri, you will find the same. I don't need to. Naivasha here, you have the Isakia community. All the way to Nakuru, Eldoret, up to Bungoma. You have had the history of Maamina. How these people came to Kenya. It's not the way that's been projected. You know, even our own history was twisted. Immediately after independence, because of the shifter menace, there was an attempt actually to rewrite and rubbish the history of the Somali community and their contribution to the making of the nation state of the Republic of Kenya. That is properly documented right now. We only need to go back to the archives. See the unbiased historical contribution of the Somali community actually in our archives, and you will appreciate that it's not the way some of the things have been projected. It's not true. And that's why proudly today, the Somalis are now the most widespread community in the world. If you go to Tel Aviv, you will find a Somali. If you go to Moscow today, you will find a Somali. If you go to Vienna, you will find a Somali. If you go and that's by the grace of God. And therefore, today, we have so many elected people of Somali descent actually in the European Parliament. All over. We have them in Canada. We have them in America. We have them in... Go to Dubai today. It's like you'll think that is another Mogadishu. Go to Vienna. Go to Brussels.
Thank you.
So I think the bit that we need to demystify is there are criminal elements in every community. Criminal element is not the title of the members of the Somali community. Criminal elements are individuals. Wherever they do, wherever they are, let criminal elements carry the attack. What is happening in America, I think it's tantamount to ethnic profiling. Is something that least expected actually in America, and we hope and pray that it's going to pass. And we understand the dynamics actually in that particular region. But in Kenya here, whatever somebody has said here, I can tell you this, and you are familiar with it. The Somali community has suffered over the years because of the shifter menace. That brief shifter menace, you are aware what has happened? How we were reduced to second-class citizen, how we were given, there was the District Contagious Act, a unique law for the members of the Somali community. We have had the Indemnity Act, a unique law for the members of the Somali community. All these things ended with the advent of multipartyism in 1991. And truly, the Somalis in Kenya here, just like the Somalis are all over. By the way, if you go to Ethiopia here, the Somalis are now the third largest community. After the Oromos and Amharas, the Somalis are now the third. The Somalis are in Djibouti. The Somalis are in Somalia. The Somalis are in Kenya here. The Somalis are in Somaliland here. These are historical facts. What can we do? There's nothing that could. There's even a Somali member of parliament, a Somali minister in Tanzania. What can we do? This is the making of the scramble for Africa. The Somalis were partitioned into different parts of Africa, and by extension, the Somalis have become now the most widespread community in the whole world. The only thing that I will tell the Somalis, wherever they are, continue being persistent, continue being resilient, continue being hardworking, and wherever they are, function in line with your traditions and the norms of those countries where you reside in.
Right, thank you.
Don't accept any intimidation.
Truth is, all Somalians who cross the border and come to Kenya and fly to abroad, they all have Kenyan passports. Did you ever sit down and ask yourself, how do they manage to get Kenyan passports? Na wewe kama Mkenya halisi, it is difficult for you to obtain that document. Let us celebrate Kenya.
Anything, they just run around killing each other. There's no structure. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries too. I can say it about other countries too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point.
Major breaking news. There is a great tension between Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia after a Somalia US-based Congresswoman Ilhan Omar went ahead and claimed that Ethiopia and Kenya had stole part of their land, of the Somaliland. You won't believe this. Specifically in Kenya is northeastern part of Kenya, which is made up of Mandera, Moyale, Wajir, Isiolo, Garissa, you can name it all. That part belongs to Somalia. You won't believe this. And she went ahead and said, one day Somalia will wake up, liberate, and take their land back. You won't believe this. And this particular claim has literally brought a controversial tension online, whereby a lot of Kenyans, a lot of Ethiopians are throwing backlashes on her. And let me tell you, all this particular tension started when the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, went ahead and said that the Somalians who are living in the United States, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, contributes nothing to the United States. They need to go back to their nation, Somalia, that stinks. He went ahead and even said that Somalians are garbage. You won't believe this. And this is the reason as to why Ilhan Omar has actually come out claiming that part of their land was stolen by Kenya and Ethiopia. So we literally don't know what will happen. It has been forth and back online. Let's keep on following.
Somalis destroyed their country through civil strife in the 80s. And that country has never been the same. A country that was running well, democratically. They had clan wars, and that country was destroyed. And they became refugees, and most of them found their ways into Kenya. And out of Kenya, they got a clear passage to the USA. And they were settled in Minnesota, America. But what they've been doing is, say, for the last so years, they've been found in a scandal that has milked America more than 1.7 billion US dollars. And the president of the US is pissed off with Somalis. Now he wants them out of the US. He says he don't want them. And so it's very important for a country like Kenya to safeguard our unity and to prepare ourselves to face differences. That's a key statement right there, because our differences are they pale considering what would happen if we find ourselves in a situation whereby we don't have a country that we call Kenya. Listen to what Donald Trump is talking about Somalis, and he's on his way to kick them out of the US. Asanteni.
Go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country.
Hello again and welcome back to our discussion. And today we are talking about a shocking and confusing issue involving Trump, the Somalis, and the Kenyans. Many Somalis in the United States, especially those in Minnesota, are now being deported. But instead of being returned to their Somali homeland, they are landing in Kenya. This has left so many people asking whether Trump is he indirectly deporting Kenyans or deporting the Somalis. Remember that Minnesota has one of the largest Somali communities in the United States. Many arrived as refugees because of fleeing war and instability in Somalia. Over time, they created families, they settled, worked, and raised their children. Some became citizens, and others remained permanent residents. And some stayed under refugee or protected status. When immigration laws become strict, especially under the Trump policy, those without strong legal protection become vulnerable to deportation. Somalia is still considered unstable in many parts of the world. The US sometimes struggles so hard to deport these people because there are still insecurity issues. Lack of documentation or refusal of the Somali authorities to accept these people who are now being deported. And when this happens, immigration officials look at where else the person has legal or documented ties. Now, this brings us to why these deportees are landing in Kenya. Many Somalis pass through Kenya before going to the United States. Some lived in a refuge called Dadaab, which is in Kenya. Some received travel documents while they stayed in Kenya. Because of this, now the United States records list that these refugees are Kenyans because of the documents we have seen. So when deportation happens, Kenya becomes the default destination. Now, this is where confusion and anger is growing. Some deportees arrive in Kenya and are treated as if that is their country. Others may deny it, and others may be left stranded. This creates fear among Kenyans and Somalis alike. Kenya did not agree to become a dumping ground for US deportations. Kenya already hosts hundreds of refugees, and when you bring others, you are stretching it. Its citizens are asking why deportees from the United States are being brought in without clear agreements. And this has put Kenya in a difficult diplomatic and humanitarian position. Families are separated because of the deportations that are taking place. People are dropped in a country they may not know. Some have no relatives, some are not working, and no legal status in Kenya. This is not just immigration policy. This is human lives being shifted around like paperwork. Trump's immigration policies have been widely criticized for targeting immigrants, Muslims, and Africans. Somalis, being black and Muslim, sit at the center of this pressure. The lack of transparency raises questions about racial bias, political motives, and accountability. So now, why is Kenya being used as a solution to American deportation problems? Why are African countries expected to observe the consequences of the US politics? And who speaks for the deported individuals who have no voice? What are we witnessing is not just deportation, it is actual displacement. Somalis deported from the United States should not be quietly pushed into Kenya because it's absorbing them. We need clarity and we need responsibility. This issue needs an open discussion, diplomatic honesty, and respect for the African nations and African lives. Leave your thoughts in the comment section of what you think Trump is doing to the Somalis and why he's subjecting Kenya to its problems. Until next time, be grounded and be informed. But don't forget to subscribe, to share, and to like today's video.